Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm just gonna grab a drink real quick, waiting for everybody to get logged in.
Sounds great.
Good morning, everyone. We will get started in just 1 minute. I believe we have at least one more attendee that looks like is logging in, and we'll get started. All right. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us first thing in the morning. First off, if you could, please check in the chat box. That would be great. This session is being recorded, and we have filed for 1 CE credit for each of our live attendees to earn simply by attending and participating in today's webinar. So if you could take a moment to locate the chat feature and check in for us there, just for tracking purposes. Kathy and Rick, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
David, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So on camera, let me give my little introduction here. My name is Sarah Walker-Hite. I'm an account executive with First Medicare Direct, First Carolina Care, and Health Alliance Medical Plan. I specialize in Medicare Group EGWP plans of all sizes. one person to infinity. And I am joined by my counterpart, Ann Thurston. Ann handles all of our renewals and works with our employer groups with any questions that you or our employer group may have throughout the year. Ann, would you like to say something?
Yes, hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here talking with you today. As Sarah said, my name is Ann Thurston. I am the client consultant for Medicare renewals for First Medicare Direct, First Carolina Care. I have been with Health Alliance for about 9 years, working in a client consultant role with large groups primarily, and have moved over to take over Medicare renewals just this past year. So I'm very excited to be working in this new section of my field. Nice to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you again all for joining us. So we're going to dive right in here. Today's presentation, you guessed it, is going to focus around Medicare Group EGWP plans. And we're going to be talking specifically about what's new for 2024. We've had some new plans that are offered for both Medicare individual and for Medicare Group EGWP. So we're going to go over that today and answer any questions that you may have for us. First Carolina Care is local. We have health plans that provide hometown coverage. While Ann and I are remote at this point, we do work within all of our different areas, and we have folks right there in North Carolina to assist, David being one who is on the call with us today. So know we are here for you. You will get real people when you call in and have questions for us. You will not be shipped to someone overseas for your incoming calls. And again, I just have that note here. Anyone that has just joined us, if you haven't already, please check in for CE purposes by posting in the chat. All of our insurance producers who are licensed in North Carolina, this segment, you are eligible for 1 CE credit. And Carrie has asked for your NPN number as well. So if you could take a moment to drop that into the chat, or if you would feel more comfortable emailing that to us, we understand as well. Maybe you don't have it right in front of you. Please send that to FCC Broker Services at firstcarolinacare.com. And I will be providing a copy of this presentation to you via email after our webinar today, so you will have this for reference. All right, plans that fit. So EGWP plans. I've been fortunate enough to work with our Medicare Group EGWP plans for the last 17 years. In one way or another, I have been involved with the setup and sales and or service of our EGWP plans. And there is definitely a time and a place for an EGWP plan, as you all can guess. The rules are slightly different for Medicare Group because the employer is involved in the plan offering. So we do need 3 things from our group and our eligible members to make an EGWP plan work for that group. Those 3 things are, first, the group needs to offer 1 or more EGWP plan options. The second is the member needs to be Medicare primary payer status, and we'll go over that in just a moment. They also need to be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B for claims to pay correctly. For Medicare Group, you will see these highlighted counties here on the page. There are certain counties that we are filed in for Medicare Group, Medicare Advantage plans. Now, the members themselves do not necessarily need to reside within these counties. However, the employer needs to have a location, a billing location domiciled in at least one of these highlighted counties for it to be a good fit. So again, you could have a member that resides outside of these counties, but we do need the employer to have at least one billing location domiciled within one of the highlighted counties here. For groups sizes, again, we can do anywhere from one person all the way up to infinity. We can customize a Medicare Advantage plan for employer groups that have 25 or more eligible members on their census. So when you may run into that is with a union, with a municipality, any situation where you have a contractual obligation to provide a certain level of benefits. Oftentimes you'll see you need to meet or exceed this certain standard of benefits. And so what we can do is we can take a look at our benefits that are created today, a standard benefit plan, and simply ask underwriting to make adjustments to those standard plans to create a non-standard plan that will fit the needs of that particular group. Again, that tends to be more unions, municipalities, but we certainly, any group that has 25 or more eligible, we could take a look at a non-standard plan. It does take about 2 weeks to get the rates back on that, so definitely not a quick turnaround, but definitely worth a conversation there and can save some significant dollars. If you have a self-funded plan, there are benefits to peeling that risk off of the self-funded plan, the active self-funded plan, and placing the eligible members on a Medicare group plan. So it can help lower their FASB and GASB liabilities and expenditures. Now, again, we're not tax professionals, but there is cost savings to be had, not just by peeling that risk off, but also by the amount of funds that self-funded employer would need to maintain is lowered by peeling those belly buttons off of that particular plan and placing them over on a Medicare group plan option, which is considered to be a fully insured option. So again, our rules of the road for Medicare group, we need the employer to sponsor a plan option. The member needs to be Medicare primary, and the member needs to be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B. So regardless of the size of the group or what situation is going on, this is just a great slide. And again, I'll provide these to you after our presentation today, just to remember so you can go back and say, what was Sarah and Ann talking about here? So again, if you have these 3 criteria met, then a Medicare group could be a great opportunity for your employer group that you're working with. So I have a lot of people that say, well, what is primary? I'm not sure what makes a member primary. So we've put together a handy dandy reference sheet here. And if you start at the top of our tree here in the pink, if you tab a Medicare eligible member, drop down to the second tier on the right side, in a situation where an employer has 19 or less total employees on their tax and wage, then the following is true. On the third tier, that member can be retired, full-time or part-time. Medicare is primary. They can also be actively working, and Medicare is primary. So we have the green light for both of those situations. That means a Medicare group EGWP plan could be a great fit. So for your groups that have 1 to 19 total employees on their tax and wage, I recommend strongly that you take a look at a Medicare group solution for those folks. And there's significant dollars to be saved. In a lot of situations, those ACA plans, you're approaching around $1,000 a month, maybe more, for folks who are age 64 and over. So you definitely should take a look at the cost savings that could be had with a Medicare group plan situation. Now, if we go back up to the pink, And we drop down to the left this time on the second tier in a situation when an employer has 20 or more total employees on their tax and wage. Then the following is true on the third tier. If they are retired from full-time status, Medicare is primary. So I'll say that again. They have to be retired from full-time status. They may still be working part-time, but it needs to be typically, it depends on the employer. For small groups, it's going to be 29 hours or less a week, but they need to be retired from full-time for Medicare to be primary. And in that case, you would have the green light to enroll those members onto a Medicare plan solution. Now, if the person is actively working full-time, Medicare is secondary. So we have the yield sign there because that member would not be eligible until they retire, at least from full-time status. Now, this tree is demonstrating the CMS rule of 20. So it's a CMS primary payer rule. It's not our rule. It is set forth by CMS, and we do follow this guide. And again, we'll provide this to you for quick reference after our presentation today.
Sarah, I have a question related to that.
Yes, please go ahead.
So, for employers that have a number of people 65 and older still working, not on Medicare, I know you can't incent people to enroll in Medicare, but what would your recommendation be to help communicate to these people to at least explore a Medicare option? Because a lot of times that can be better for them than just staying on the medical plan.
Well, when we're talking about Medicare group, we're going to take a look at that rule of 20 when the employer is involved. You certainly can have the conversation with that member regardless, but unless that employer is 19 or less total employees on the tax and wage, then they're going to have to be retired from full-time from that employer. But for those 1 to 19 folks, it's really just your employer is offering a Medicare group solution. It has been created to work with your Medicare A and B. It's going to alleviate a lot of the premium dollars. So there's cost savings to be had. And a lot of times, if you just show the plans side by side, show the cost savings, show the enhancements that a Medicare group plan can offer someone. $0 deductible is one example. $0 deductible for Medicare group. That is something that's standard. Again, unless we got into a non-standard plan, we needed to add one for some reason. But that first dollar benefit is something that a lot of folks don't see today. They typically have a deductible of at least $500 or more that they have to pay. And moving to a Medicare group plan, they're going to have a $0 deductible. They're also going to see oftentimes lower cost share as well.
So,
they're saying,
but for a group over 20, can they show them, what if they signed up for, if they retired, what this option would look like for them? In other words, are they allowed to put it in front of them? This is what you could have available to you if you retire.
yes, absolutely. And in fact, once an employer group is set up with us in the system, we'll actually send a letter out to a member once they turn 64. We'll invite them to attend a Medicare ABC's webinar that essentially just goes over the basics of Medicare A and B and the fact that they, when they should be signing up for Medicare Part A and B. And then it just kind of is that precursor to introduce them to the terminology of Medicare. It'll also state in that letter if a member has eligibility to move on to a plan at retirement, or maybe while they're still active. Again, the letter, there's a different letter, one for the 1 to 19 employer members and one for the 20 and above employer members. But anyway, we're inviting them to have that conversation with us and explore what Medicare has to offer, look at the plans that are designed to work with their Medicare Part A and B and have those cost savings. So to your point, yes, you can absolutely present that to them to let them know, hey, we have this available to you if and when you decide to retire from full-time status.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. We do have several employers that will do that, and they'll actually, um, it's it can be a win-win for the situation. We've got some folks that are, holding on by with their claws, right? Because they think they need to spend all this money for health insurance. They're worried about change, right? And that's where we come in to help guide them as a member and also an employer. Oftentimes, it is the employer themselves who is hanging on and has not signed up for Medicare for whatever reason. So just it opens the door for those conversations to get them in front of you as the agent or to one of our webinars that again is going to talk about basic information and invite them to follow up with their agent and broker and or employer contact and talk about Medicare because a lot of times people are just inundated. They come in to their HR person with bags of age in paraphernalia that's been mailed to them. They're getting all these calls about Medicare and you must do this, must do that, and they're very confused. So I agree. If you can approach them proactively, let them know, hey, we have this opportunity for you to take a look at. Let's schedule a time to sit down and talk about it. I think people are going to jump at that because it's just very confusing for people that don't work in our industry. It's confusing for people that do work in our industry as well, of course.
Right, for sure.
Now, we do have a few frequently asked questions. I know we've got several that are on the call that may have a Medicare group renewing with us. So I'm going to turn things over to Anne for a few moments just to review all things Medicare group renewal.
Thank you, Sarah. All right. Well, I'm going to talk just briefly about questions we get on our Medicare group renewals, mostly because it works a little differently than a traditional group renewal, especially with the timeline. So going over that, our Medicare group renewal timeline starts in September. So Medicare Advantage renewals have already been released. They were emailed out. And when almost immediately after we release them over email, we move them over to implementation for auto renewal. Medicare Advantage rate changes will be effective 1/1/24. Can move on. So you probably are looking at, oh, we auto renew them right away. Well, is there any action that needs to be taken with your Medicare renewal? If the group is making no plan changes for their new plan year, we do not need any action. We do not need the rates that were signed and emailed back. We will automatically renew the group without any action from the group, unless the group wants to make a plan change. They want to add a plan, delete a plan offering. Then we do need that exhibit signed and emailed back. What if the group has a plan that is being retired in 2024? There are some plans that are going away. I actually don't believe any of our current groups in FCC actually have a retired plan, but for in future years, we internally replace retired plans with an active benefit option for implementation. The renewal emails that go out with the renewal exhibit will include details on plan mapping and new benefit summaries. We internally map members to new benefit options, but for compliance reasons, if we are having a plan that's retiring and a member needs to change plans, we do want to get an updated application from the member to acknowledge that they have accepted the new plan. And really, that's all the FAQs that I have at this time. If anyone has questions for me on renewals, my contact information is at the end of this presentation and was included when I emailed out renewals. Please reach out to me, send me an email, call me, send an email to our FCC Medicare group email box, and I will get back to you and help walk you through any concerns or questions you may have with your existing groups.
Thank you, Anne. So now it's time for a poll question. Again, this is just something we're going to pause. If you can locate the chat box, it's for our CE credit filing. And just curious, what counties do you actively sell in? Do you sell in all counties in North Carolina? Are you selling in the Sandhills counties, or are you focused on one or two particular counties in particular? Inquiring minds want to know. Right. So for Medicare group, we have what's called a plan booklet. These are ready to sell out of the box plan options designed for you to take and present to your clients. This first plan that we're going to go over, hopefully you can see at the top there. I know it's kind of small. Again, I'll be providing this to you in a follow-up email, so you will have the booklet itself available. This is our first Medicare Direct POS option 1. The monthly premium is $248. So again, if you think back, the ACA plans I was talking about earlier for someone age 64 plus, a lot of them are around $1,000 or more. With Medicare Group, we're talking $248 for this plan. Now, the $248 does not include the Medicare Part B premium that a member pays. So keep that in mind. The member is going to need to continue to pay their Medicare Part B premium. The Medicare Part B premium payment is set up through Social Security when the member calls in or logs in to sign up for Medicare. So that's something that is going to be automatically set up when they enroll in Medicare and paid for directly by that member. So please keep that in mind when you're presenting these dollars, that the member is out of the box going to have some cost share there because they are responsible for paying their Medicare Part B premium. For this premium, $248 a month, again, the employer is eligible to pay anywhere from 0 to 100% of this premium. If the employer is contributing towards the premium, we can group bill them. So that way the employer will get a group bill with everyone's name on there and their plan option, make it very easy for them to pay monthly. For this particular plan, we have both in and out of network benefits. Our POS plan type is fabulous on the Medicare side. It's fabulous on our group side as well, commercial group side. But for Medicare group, the nice thing is our out-of-network benefits are phenomenal when you're used to working in the commercial world. So in-network, you have a $0 deductible. Out-of-network, you have a $0 deductible. Again, out of the gate. For our out-of-pocket maximum for your Medicare Part A and Part B expenses, in-network, you have a $4,500 out-of-pocket max. When you go out-of-network, it's $5,500 out-of-pocket max. So let's talk about, for a moment here, in-network versus out-of-network. So you, of course, for Medicare Advantage, you're going to have a network of providers that are signed up. They accept Medicare assignment, and they also have a contract with us to work with us and offer savings for that member to come see them. Those savings are passed along. And that's why we have lower cost share for the members in the in-network column there. However, we recognize that some folks like to have the option to go out of network. Sometimes, heaven forbid, a serious condition rears its ugly head in their life, and they want to have the ability to go see a provider that may not be in the area or in the Medicare Advantage network itself. And so long as that provider accepts Medicare assignment, we do have that out-of-network benefit that the member can utilize. So I think that that's very valuable for some folks. Again, you're going to have some people, I've got family members, they're like, no, I'm only going to ever go to this doctor in this hospital, and that's all I'm ever going to do. For those folks, HMO is great, but you do have some others that prefer that HMO PPO blend. of an option, then that's where a POS plan option comes in, provides you with both that in-network and out-of-network possibility, right? Gives you that backup option. So the benefits here, you can see with Medicare Advantage, everything's under one umbrella. We would administer and pay all the claims, process all the claims, do all the coordination with Medicare A and B. You would have one place to call for claim support and questions, and that would be our customer service line, or your client consultant, Ann Thurston, if you got into a particular situation where you had additional questions about how something was being paid. We, of course, are here to help support and provide answers for that for you. Towards the bottom of the page, you do have a separate pharmacy deductible listed. So for those of you that don't sell Medicare individual, there is a separate pharmacy deductible and out-of-pocket maximum for Medicare. So that's why it's listed accordingly on this particular summary. But again, the pharmacy deductible is $0. You do have for generics $10 copay for tiers 1 and 2. Tier 3 is preferred brand, $40. Tier 4 non-preferred drug is $100. Tier 5 specialty tiers, 25% cost share for the member. So coverage through the gap. This particular plan is filed for coverage through the coverage gap for the member. This is unique to Medicare group. It is not something that's available to a member on the Medicare individual platform. Must be offered as an EGWP plan through the group. So this particular plan, you've got coverage through the coverage gap. And we'll go into the coverage gap a little bit more in a later slide. But just know that essentially when folks hit that donut hole, if and when they hit that donut hole, their cost share is going to remain the same as the menu listed above. So they're going to stay when they hit that coverage gap. They're going to keep that tier 1, tier 2, $10 for generics. Tier 3 still going to be $40 in the coverage gap. They're not going to see any disruption there like you would on a Medicare individual plan. So that can be valuable for folks for sure. After the member's yearly out-of-pocket drug cost reaches $8,000, the member pays 0% for generics and 0% for all other drugs. So we do have several levels of this POS option. This is the POS option 2. This one is $270 a month. Again, $0 deductible for Medicare Part A and B expenses, $4,000 out-of-pocket maximum for in-network, $5,500 for out-of-network. You can see the cost share levels are slightly different. As you move towards the bottom, you're going to see the pharmacy deductibles, again, $0, but the copays are a little bit lower for that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So again, it's just a matter of what the comfort level is, the price point, right? Which plan is going to make the most sense for that particular employer group to offer. And again, this plan has the coverage through the coverage gap. Again, tier 3, or I'm sorry, POS option 3, again, it's just another variation of the POS option 1 and 2. You're going to have slightly richer benefits for the member. This one is $302 a month. $3,500 out of pocket maximum for Medicare A and B expenses in network, and $5,450 out of network. So again, if you look down at the pharmacy at the bottom, you're going to see again those pharmacy tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 are going to be again slightly lower than what you saw in the POS option 1 or POS option 2. So all three of these have coverage through the coverage gap with Medicare. Now, we do also offer out of the box, ready to go. We have some Medicare Advantage individual plan options that are filed and cleared to sell on the Medicare group platform. So these are the same plans that you would see on the Medicare Individual Advantage side, only we've aligned them with the Medicare group side so that the employer can offer them and or contribute towards the premium payment for that member. right? So not everyone needs such a rich plan with coverage through the coverage gap. It just depends where what the needs are of that employer group and or their members, right? And what they would like to contribute premium wise. So for this particular plan, it's the POS Plus plan. It's $35 a month. Again, $0 deductible in network. Out of pocket max is $2,800 for Medicare Part A and Part B expenses. Out of network is $5,450. And again, if you scroll down to the bottom, the pharmacy deductible is still $0. Tier 1 preferred generic is $2. Tier 2 generic is $15. Tier 3 is $47. Tier 4 is 50% coinsurance cost share. Tier 5 is 33% cost share. Now, if you go one line below that, you're going to see coverage gap, stage 1. So for this plan, because it's a Medicare individual plan, this is going to look a little different. Anyone that enters that donut hole or coverage gap for these Medicare individual plans that are also offered on the Medicare group platform, they may have varying statements in this particular line here for you to reference. Again, not every member is going to hit the donut hole, right? But in this case, for this plan, the coverage through the gap continues for tier 1 with the same co-payments as initial coverage. So that means when that member enters the coverage gap, if and when, the tier 1 preferred generic would still be a $2 copay. Tier 2 to 5, 25% for all generic drugs and 25% for all brand name drugs would be the cost share for the member until they hit the yearly out-of-pocket drug cost of $8,000. And then they would pay $0 after that point. Now, I think it's important to mention, especially for those that don't work in the Medicare space every day, when you're looking at these different levels, how does someone get to the coverage gap or donut hole? How does someone get to catastrophic phase? We're actually behind the scenes, CMS Medicare has us calculate this, not based off the number of copays the person is paying, but it's basically it's called the true out of pocket. So the true out of pocket, what does that drug really cost? So if the drug really costs $100, they're only paying $2. That $100 is actually going to go towards that accumulator that could push someone into the donut hole and or up to the catastrophic coverage. And again, I'll show you a nice little cheat sheet and diagram on that here in just a moment. But a lot of members, again, don't ever hit that donut hole. It's just those folks that are on a lot of specialty drugs that tend to reach that in a calendar year. We do also offer a $0 plan on the Medicare group side. Again, this is the same plan that's on our Medicare individual side, the POS choice plan. Again, $0 deductible. So your out of pocket and your cost share is going to be a little bit different on this particular plan. This plan does not have any pharmacy coverage whatsoever. So this would not be a good fit for a lot of folks because they want the pharmacy coverage, right? Where it could be a good fit is someone who maybe has VA benefits or another arrangement where their drugs are covered by another entity. We also do have a $0 plan that covers prescription drug benefits. That is our POS standard plan. So $0 premium, $0 deductible for Medicare Part A and B expenses. Out-of-pocket maximum is $3,200 for in-network, $8,950 for out-of-network. And again, if you scroll down to the pharmacy section, this particular plan, because it's a $0 plan, we actually do have a pharmacy deductible. So that's every year. There's a $150 pharmacy deductible, but it only applies to prescriptions that are filled and fall into tiers 3, 4, and 5. Again, this particular plan, coverage through the gap, there is some coverage for tier 1, but tiers 2 to 5, you're going to have that cost share for the member because this is a Medicare individual plan that we are offering on the Medicare group platform. The PPO Plus plan is $59 a month. Again, $0 deductible, $3,900 out-of-pocket maximum for Medicare Part A and B expenses in network, and $7,500 for out-of-network. Again, if we go down to the pharmacy section towards the bottom, $0 deductible for this plan for pharmacy. And cost share is tier 1's $2, tier 2 generic is $15, tier 3 is $47, and then tier 4 non-preferred drugs 50% cost share for the member, and tier 5 is 33% cost share for the member. And once again, you don't have that complete coverage to the coverage gap like you do with the POS option 1, 2, and 3. However, they do have some limited coverage through the gap there. So I promised you a slide that talked a little bit more about the donut hole in the coverage gap for anyone who may not work in the Medicare space on a daily basis. Essentially, your initial coverage, that's what is shown with the on your bottom of the benefit summaries there, out of the gate. What's the person going to pay out of the gate for tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's what's called the initial coverage phase. So the client or the member is going to pay that amount until their prescription drug costs reach $5,030. $5,030, again, that particular accumulator as designated by CMS Medicare, that's actually a true out-of-pocket. So they're going to take a look at what that full price is. So not just maybe the $2 that person is paying a copay for, they're going to look at the true cost of it. If it's $100, then that $100 is going to go towards that $5,030 accumulator. Again, most people stay in that stage. We don't always have folks that reach the donut hole or the coverage gap of Medicare. The coverage gap itself for 2024 purposes is when someone's true out-of-pocket reaches $5,030. And then you're going to enter that donut hole. So again, the nice thing about a Medicare group plan option, POS options 1, 2, and 3, is members, regardless if they hit this or not, they're going to have that consistent coverage, that consistent tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 menu pricing for their drugs, regardless if they hit this stage or not. It's going to stay consistent for them, just like they would be used to on a commercial plan for folks who are not Medicare eligible, right? So it's a little easier for some of them to understand that. The coverage gap lasts until you reach $8,000. Again, true out-of-pocket costs. And then the catastrophic coverage, the good news is if and when someone was to hit that, is now a $0 cost share. Prior to 2024, there could be cost share in that particular catastrophic coverage phase, but there is no member cost share for this year. We do have pharmacy mail order benefits to help folks save some money. $0 for tier 1 generic drugs is available through mail order. We also have 90-day, of course, supply options for members. And POS choice, there is a disclaimer at the bottom, is not a part of that 90-day supply option. However, most of our plan options do allow for this. And getting your prescription drugs at any level of cost savings is very helpful for folks. It's just, learning to navigate their new plan option out of the gate. We will have this listed on the benefit summary for you and the members so you can easily reference it. So it is there for clarity purposes. And again, that way they can get it set up out of the gate with their doctor to give 90-day supply refills instead of 30-day supply refills and set themselves up for success. We do have extra help to reference to help pay for prescription drugs and premium costs. We have a great pharmacy department that can work with you and or the members and basically be able to say, okay, this particular drug, let's say it's a tier 4 drug, are there any others that I could potentially be on within the formulary that could provide cost savings? They can provide that list to the member, and the member can go back to their prescribing provider and have that conversation with them. So again, we're here to help and be a reference for all of our members, employer contacts, and our agents. Part B versus Part D pharmacy, we do get this question regularly. Some medications may be covered under Medicare Part B or Medicare Part D pharmacy, depending upon circumstances. So if we look in our online drug search and formulary, and Medicare Group uses the same Medicare formulary that Medicare Individual does, but you'll see that there's an online drug compare makes an indication with that little symbol with the A on it, and there's an example in the middle of the page. So it's sort of just a disclaimer, this drug may be covered under Medicare Part B or D, depending on the circumstances. So again, it's just there for clarity and transparency purposes, letting folks know that it could go either way, depending on oftentimes where it's administered. A lot of times if something's being administered in the provider's office itself, many times that will fall under Part B. However, if they're picking up that medication at the pharmacy down the street, that tends to be more Part D. We do offer a lot of perks. These are perks that are automatically included in our Medicare Advantage plans, and they do vary by plan, the level of benefit. But these are great. A lot of members love these. A lot of members don't realize they even have these. These are great to talk about. Remind them at the beginning. Of course, that can be a little overwhelming, but it's a good reminder and touchstone for you to follow up with them. If you're following up with them mid-year or you're going in for a renewal, these particular plans and perks can be great to revisit. And we do offer what's called Hallie Health. Hallie Health is actually an app. It's also a website, and it is designed to help our members go to one source and obtain all the information about their plan. In addition to all of their specific plan information that they can access post login, there is some pre-login information that's available in terms of recipes. There are some workouts out there and some health coaching. So lots of good things for Hallie, again, on the app or on the website. Free for our members to utilize. And then again, post login is where those members can access their actual specific plan information and EOBs. More about Hallie Health. Again, this is just reiterating post login. Members can have access to their ID cards, member materials, coverage levels, prescription savings, provider network if they need to do provider search, follow a claim through the process, know where it's at, and or reach out to customer service. Now, we do hear a lot about virtual health. We hear about telephonic, we hear about virtual visits, we hear about virtual primary care. There's lots of variations, and unfortunately, not everyone utilizes the same terminology. So we included this slide just to outline the terminology we're utilizing in our materials. So members can still have access to all things virtual here. Telehealth benefit in particular connects the member with their primary care provider or specialist over the phone or online. They can speak to that person. Again, this became very popular during the pandemic, a way for people to touch base. It's worked well. We're certainly not going to take that away or penalize folks for utilizing it. Virtual visits, these are considered and for the common cold. You can utilize this particular service through the app. So if you're traveling, one time we went to Disney World. My poor little one at the time, of course, now he's all grown up, but my little one at the time had an ear infection. And it was unfortunately something chronic, but I was able to call in and do a virtual visit with them. So we did not have to disrupt our trip. He could get the attention he needed, and they called the prescription into a pharmacy that was only a half a mile from our hotel. So it worked out really well for us. Again, one of those items you hope you never have to use, but it is absolutely there if you need it. Also great for middle of the night if you have concerns come up in the middle of the night and you really need to see someone. There's also some new terminology here, at least new for us. It's called virtual primary care. So you can talk with your primary care provider virtually for routine wellness visits, preventative care, and chronic care. It's unlimited visits at no additional cost. So again, there's always a time and place for each of these. We do have folks that, it's hard for them to get out and about. And so that could be a good option for them. Again, they'll need to talk with their provider, see what everyone is comfortable with. But it is a door that we've opened and it is available for our members, and there is a level of coverage. We, of course, are continuing with the nurse advice line, health coaching, and we do have dental benefits on our Medicare group side. So it does, and I want to point out, we cover up to $3,000 a year to use on dental services like cleaning, x-rays, and more in network providers. However, it's not always $3,000. So I want to point that out. It depends on what plan you choose. And again, that will be listed out in our plan details for you to go over with the group or the member. But it does vary. So again, not always $3,000. It's just up to $3,000. And it is a great benefit, and taking care of your teeth is very important. We do also offer a hearing benefit. So folks can get a routine hearing exam for a $0 copay. And there's also a discount program for true hearing aids. So again, just an option. They don't have to necessarily get their hearing aids through True Hearing, but is available to them. And regardless, they can get that routine hearing exam for a $0 copay. Blue shots, of course, continue for folks that are interested in those yearly. And something that is newer to us is a flex card. So here is a screenshot of that flex card. I know it's white on white, so it's kind of hard to see, but it works just like a debit card or any other Flex 1 to 25 card someone may have had in the past. And what we're going to do is we're going to load the Medicare Advantage benefits onto here for the members. Now, I will say dental is not included on it this year. So we're looking at allowances for fitness activities through the BFit program, vision and hardware, and over-the-counter benefits at $35 a quarter. Again, these benefits may vary based on which plan that member is enrolled in, but it is more convenient for us to be able to provide this flex card, this flex debit card for folks up front, so they're not having to save all their receipts, figure out where to send them, and then wait for reimbursement, right? So this is very exciting for us to have this available. And again, dental is not included in this, but it may be something that's looked at in the future. Vision, we briefly touched on. And again, you have vision services beyond what original Medicare covers, including a routine vision exam with an in-network provider. And your flex card may do up to $200 allowance a year for eyewear. OTC benefit, you heard me reference over-the-counter benefit. We do have an over-the-counter benefit for some plans, not every plan. Some plans have a $35 per quarter over-the-counter benefit, and it would be loaded on their flex card. Again, it will also be, the level of each of these perks will be listed in the plan benefit materials to make it easy peasy for you to go over with the employer and or the member. But this is to help cover basic supplies, cold, flu, allergy, any type of over-the-counter prescription, or they wouldn't be prescriptions, but drugs that someone may use with their prescriptions as well. So it's a huge list and many participating retailers. So again, I know members are excited to have this available to them. We also have BFit. You may hear from others about Silver Sneaker program, we decided to reel that back and design our own Be Fit program. We were seeing a need, especially in rural areas, where that Silver Sneakers program did not work well for members because it wasn't offered. The smaller gyms and opportunities were not there in those rural areas. So to help our clients and fit their needs of where they're at, we want to get them moving, we designed the Be Fit program. And again, this benefit we will have on the Flex Card this year. So fitness class fees, gym memberships, online fitness subscriptions, weight loss subscriptions like Weight Watchers, golf. That's a big one. A lot of folks get very excited about. You see there's a lot of things listed here. BeFit does not cover though fitness trackers or personal equipment. But again, this is the great benefit. A lot of folks are excited about it. And if folks ask, do we have Silver Sneakers? No, we have something we designed that's even better, in my opinion. But this way you can direct those funds and that benefit where it fits you the best, right? Assist America is another popular benefit. If you haven't heard of it before, it's been around for a few years. But those folks who are newly retiring or newly enrolling in Medicare, they're always very excited about this when I talk to them about it. They usually have like a cruise in mind, or they're going to be doing some traveling. Assist America is a third party. It is not our particular coverage. We've partnered with Assist America, but there is a card. And anytime a member is traveling more than 100 miles or more from home, Assist America can help. So what you do have to do, though, is you have to call Assist America proactively. Prescription assistance, you left your prescriptions behind, you lost them somewhere along the way. You have someone who's on spring break who's on your plan, or maybe it's yourself that's gone for the summer, something happens. Maybe you're in another country and you're not sure who to call or what to do. This particular Assist America program is worldwide, and it is there to help assist our members, and they will work with you to get you to Westernized medicine. And again, great stories and a great thing to have, but again, hope you never have to use it. The companion benefit for Medicare Advantage, you get up to 30 hours of in-home yearly support, and covers all sorts of things. Again, services are typically provided in 1-hour increments. I do have a reminder that for Medicare EGWP plans, we are actually exempt from the Medicare marketing rule. So unless it is part of your regular setup to record calls, you actually don't need to record calls with members that are going on a Medicare group plan, because the point of sale was to the employer. So just want to point that out. You would follow more of what you're used to doing on the commercial group side. You do not need to follow the Medicare marketing rule for Medicare group EGWP plans that we talked about today. To request a quote, all you need to do is reach out to us. And again, we'll be sending out a follow-up that has our 2024 plans and all of our rates set for the 2024 year. If you want to do a non-standard plan, we of course are happy to work with you on that as well. And we will be providing resources in the follow-up here for you. So do we have any questions for today? Ann and I are here to help. And that concludes our presentation for the day. We'll hang on for just a minute. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. If not, feel free to check out by posting in the chat box. Again, that's just for CE tracking purposes, making sure you're still awake out there and I haven't put you to sleep. Thank you all so much for your time. We really appreciate you joining us. And again, hopefully some light bulbs have gone off for you, and are getting your juices flowing, and you're thinking of some groups that this may be a good fit for, that you're working with today. Or maybe it's your own group yourself. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And we'll be following up soon. Have a great day.
Thanks. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
you. Good morning.